All right, so we're going to talk about the immediate causes of World War One. Of World War One, 1914 to 1918, and the Treaty of Versailles. It's 1919, and again, we're going to talk about that in the future. But I just keep every time I start a lecture, I'll bring that up because I want you to remember that. Now, last time we talked about the Schlieffen Plan and then the Moltke Plan and how the Moltke Plan was a little bit different. And basically, what I was saying was that the rigidity of military strategy was one of the causes of World War One, and it wasn't just Germany. All right. For example, if Russia was going to go to war, they would have to invade Germany from the east as quickly as possible. Um, And because Russian mobilization was usually kind of slow, it meant that they had to mobilize at just the slightest hint of war, of course, which meant that Germany would have to invade France right away. So, I mean, Russia was another example. It was, again, it was sort of an all or nothing strategies among many of the nations at that time. So, what were some of the immediate causes? All right, because Europe at this time, some historians have described Europe at this time as a powder keg. Okay, of just gunpowder. I'm sure you all are familiar with what a keg is, but imagine a powder keg, and there had to be like some type of little spark that set it off. And what was that? Well, it all started um, in a Slavic province of the Austrian Empire. Okay, it began in Bosnia. Now, here is a map of Europe in 1914. And you will see Austria-Hungary here. And here's Austria-Hungary. I kind of had to enlarge this image so it's not real clear. But this right here is the Bosnian province of Austria-Hungary, and the capital of this province, which was Sarajevo. Now, Sarajevo was populated by different ethnic groups, but a major ethnic group was Serbs. Now, as you can see, here's Serbia. But there are a lot of Serbs that lived in Bosnia, and those Serbs were living in Bosnia, of course, were under the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And many of these Serbs wanted to be, these were called Bosnian Serbs, they wanted to be part of a greater Serbia, or maybe even independent. I mean, different groups wanted different things. Well, in June of 1914, I'm going to write this right here, but I want y'all to remember this. You don't have to remember the exact date, but I do want you to know June of 1914, the Archduke of Austria-Hungary, this was the heir to the Austrian throne. In Austria-Hungary, they had a dual monarchy, which meant they had two kings. One was Austrian, the other one was Hungarian. And Archduke Franz Ferdinand, all right, he was the heir to the Austrian throne. Well, he went to Sarajevo, and he was riding around in an open car, and a member of the Black Hand, a guy by the name of Gavrilo Princip, this fella here, bam! All right, opened fire on the car, all right, that was driving around Archduke Franz Ferdinand. In fact, here is a drawing of what happened in a newspaper at that time. Now, what happened was Gavrilo Princip was a member, like I said, I think I said this earlier, of the Black Hand. This was a terrorist organization. All right, terrorism is nothing new. We act like it's some kind of new phenomenon, but it's not. And the Black Hand was a Bosnian nationalist group seeking independence from Austria. Okay, so they wanted Bosnia to be independent. Now, like I said, there were a lot of Serbs in Bosnia, and then some of the Serbs belonged to different organizations, wanted independence, such as the Black Hand. Others wanted, and others wanted to be just part of Serbia. Okay, so it depended, but they certainly did not want to be part of Austria-Hungary. Now, the group planned the assassination in close consultation with the Serbian General Staff's Chief of Intelligence. Okay, so here's Serbia, and we don't know really to what extent, but it did seem, at least at the time, helped the Black Hand. So just imagine if someone from another country, or let's say a terrorist, assassinated the vice president, and we found out that a particular country helped the terrorist, then we would probably go to war with that country. So it's kind of similar. Now, Serbia, like I said, was a nation that was sympathetic to the Bosnian movement for independence. The Austrians considered Serbia, let me go back to the map, all right, a threat to them, and they were right in that. Obviously, they did help to some extent this terrorist organization. And of course, they wanted to wipe Serbia off of the map. There was a problem, however. Okay, and this is when things get kind of crazy. All right? Because Austria-Hungary wanted to wipe Serbia off the map. However, let me see if I have another map. Oh, hold on. The thing is that Russia was always good friends with Serbia. Serbia was like Russia's little brother. And there were several reasons. Number one, they belonged, the people in Russia and Serbia belonged to the same religion, okay, which was Eastern Orthodox. Now, of course, in Russia, they call it Russian Orthodox. In Greece, they call it Greek Orthodox, and there are some differences here and there. I'm not sure what the differences are. but they are all very, very similar. Okay, pretty much the same thing. It's not Catholic, it's not Protestant, it's Eastern Orthodox or Russian Orthodox. So also Russia always wanted to, always kept allies or tried to keep allies or tried to keep specifically Serbia as an ally in the Balkans. This area is called the Balkans because one of the problems that Russia has always had historically is access to the sea. And so they could go through here, through the Dardanelles, and they would have, an ally in that area. Okay? So culturally and also politically, it was a good idea for Serbia to, and Russia, or for Russia to sort of have Serbia's back there. Okay? And Austria-Hungary did not want to go to war with Russia. In other words, if they went in there and they attacked Serbia, they were afraid that Russia would attack them. And the thing about Russia is that, like I said earlier, they were a little bit less developed in terms of industry as a lot of West European countries. But Russia is a big landmass, and there are lots of people, tough people, and so Russia's just, you don't really want to mess with them too much. Okay, so Austria-Hungary was kind of like, man, we want to go ahead and wipe Serbia off the map, but what we need to do is make sure we have somebody that has our back. And of course, part of the Triple Alliance was between Germany and Austria-Hungary. And so Austria-Hungary asked Germany, said, look, if we attack Serbia and Russia decides to attack us, will you help us? And Kaiser Wilhelm II said, yes, we will help you. And we understand why you want to do this. You could say they kind of gave a blank check, all right, to Austria-Hungary. Said, do what you want to do and we'll help you. The thing is that Austria was very slow. And they gave Serbia this crazy ultimatum, an outrageous ultimatum on July 24th, almost a month after the assassination, which basically said, look, give up your independence, become part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, or we're going to invade. I mean, there was a lot more to it than that, but at least from the Serbian standpoint, that's pretty much what it was. So Serbia gave kind of an ambiguous response to the Austrian ultimatum, but was so soft and conciliatory that even the Kaiser thought maybe they could avoid war. But determined to erase Serbia off the map, Austria declared war against the nation on July 28th. Austria-Hungary declares war on Serbia. This was a great blunder of timing since the Austrians couldn't even put an army in the field until mid-August. The infuriated Russians mobilized against Austria. Mobilized against Austria-Hungary. Right after this, but they only mobilized against Austria-Hungary. They didn't put any troops near the German border. But the Germans considered any mobilization of Russia's massive army a threat to their security. So they looked at Russia's mobilization against Austria-Hungary as a mobilization against themselves, against Germany, Okay, so Germany looked at Russia's mobilization against Austria-Hungary as a threat to them. But instead of attacking Russia, because they knew if they attacked Russia, then France was going to invade, what they did was they put the Moltke Plan into effect and invaded Luxembourg and Belgium. So Germany, Moltke Plan, they put the Moltke Plan into effect and invaded Luxembourg and Belgium. They have to invade these countries in order to get to France. If you know your geography, you'd be insulted that I said that. But if you're a little weak on geography, because I know how it is sometimes in Louisiana. If we go, around Lake Charles, if we go east of Crowley or west of Beaumont, we start getting confused. I'm the same way. Don't worry about it. All right, but they had to go through Luxembourg and Belgium to get to France and to get to the city of Paris. So this all happened August 1st, actually. So this kind of gives you an idea. July 24th, July 25th, 28th, all 1914. All right, August 1st, they invade Luxembourg. August 3rd, they invade Belgium. When they invade Belgium, well, Great Britain, who had signed way back in, I think it was 1839, a treaty with Belgium, basically saying that that if somebody invades Belgium, that they would come on Belgium's side. They would help Belgium. Well, Great Britain declares war on Germany. So Britain declares war, and you don't have to remember all these exact dates, no biggie, on August 4th. And thus, basically, this is how the countries started getting involved. Italy stays out of the war until 1915. And later on, in 1917, the United States gets involved. So while a general war had long been expected, no one was prepared for the utter barbarity and unprecedented carnage of World War I. The technology of the Industrial Revolution, which had previously served as kind of a source of hope to many, would now be used to kill more efficiently and in larger numbers than ever before possible. The concept of total war would blur the line between soldier and civilian, making enemy cities and economies fair game. And war would no longer be a distant, I don't know what's a good word, a distant rumble or a distant fight, something that was way far away, really the pastime of a few young aristocrats, a game played according to clear rules. It would now be a vicious struggle for survival, placing a crushing and physical and emotional burden on each member of every family, rich and poor, male and female, child and grandparent. You can say that baptized in gore by the Great War, the new century would be, the 20th century I'm talking about, the bloodiest in human history. The world would never, ever be the same again. Now, why was it so bad? Well, I explained this to you when we talked about the Civil War, the U.S. Civil War. And basically, what we had a situation in which tactics, and they were using still, at this point, linear tactics. All right, tactics remained the same. However, the technology was much more advanced than the tactics. So if your tactics stay stagnant and your technology keeps going up, it's going to increase casualty rates. So we're talking about millions killed. All right, millions killed. I want you to think about that. Let's say, for example, in Germany, in just 4 years, from 1914 to 1918, 2 million young men were killed. Okay? All right. I hope this helps. There's a lot to World War I. I didn't go into tons of detail, but the best way to learn more about this is you're not going to find a lot about the causes of World War I in your textbook, but do a little research on your own, and I'm going to give you an assignment to kind of help you with this. All right, and I'll explain more about the assignment soon.